Black people, why would they hide this from us? Psalm 106:1. Praise the Lord. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. The Ethiopian Bible, Psalms 106:1. Praise Yahweh. Give thanks to Yahweh, for he is good, for his loving kindness endures forever. Who can utter the mighty acts of Yahweh or fully declare all his praise? Notice how in the King James Bible, it was all caps Lord there. Now explain to me, why did they change the name Yahweh to Lord? And then turn around and call all the rulers of the land Lord, and the royalty were called lords, and the enslaved called their masters my lord.
There's a whole other Bible out there that no one is telling you about. Not some knockoff version. No, I'm talking about the Ethiopian Bible. It is the oldest, wildest Bible in the world. It is like the uncut holy edition of the Bible. Look, it has 81 books, and most Bibles only have 66 books. That is 15 missing chapters from a holy book that is supposed to dictate your life. I'm talking the Book of Enoch, Jubilees, the Shepherd of Hermas. These books are where giants show up, or humans start asking too many questions, or angels get messy. Now, the Vatican didn't outright ban these books. Basically, they looked at them and said, that's too weird. That's too mystical. Y'all talking way too much about angels and DNA. We're going to leave it out. And Ethiopia said, that's fine. We'll keep it in ours. Gag is Ethiopia was Christian before Europe was. They weren't following Rome. Rome was still trying to figure out what to wear to church. Ethiopia wrote theirs in Ge'ez. It's one of the oldest languages in the world. And they didn't edit it. They didn't shorten it. They didn't water it down. They kept all the lore. It's basically the Bible's extended universe. Meanwhile, the Vatican out here rewriting stuff, changing calendars, all to get control of people.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right. Black Americans are discovering the truth about the Ethiopian Bible, and white people are not so happy about this because the Ethiopian Bible is said to be one of the historical books, one of the few remaining historical books that explain a lot of things that have been left out in the modern day Bible. And in today's episode, we're going to be reacting to videos of black people as well as a few white people who are discovering the truth about the Ethiopian Bible that white people tried so much to hide. Another thing I want us to note before we go into the video is, guys, keep in mind, for those who did not know, Ethiopia is one of the few African countries that was never ever colonized.
It is the only one.
The only country that was never ever colonized in Africa. They tried it, but they couldn't. And I feel like that is a very interesting history that we have to do as an episode on its own, because can you imagine all the in the continent, all the countries in the continent being colonized by white people except from the country of Ethiopia?
Right. And in today's episode, I was actually quite surprised, but in a good way, that there are a few white people who are enlightened enough to come onto the internet and experience, or state why they found the Ethiopian Bible to be very authentic according to them, right? This is because when Black Jesus was being exposed by Russia, a lot of white people were finding it difficult to accept this truth, right? But guys, let's not talk too much. Let's watch what we prepared for you today, and then we come back and talk about it. You can also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel, and leave us a comment on what you think about this episode. Let's watch.
Do you want to know why the Ethiopian Bible has 88 books compared to the Holy Bible's 66 books? Buckle up, because this was one of my favorite things to learn when researching biblical history. First of all, the Holy Bible that is everywhere now in multiple different translations was assembled by the Catholic Church, which has been corrupted since the beginning. That's not even the interesting part about all this. What makes Ethiopia so special that they would have their own version of the Bible that would be more complete and more accurate than the one the rest of the world uses? Now, Christians who read the Bible don't get a clear answer to this, but there is almost an Easter egg in Scripture that'll point us in the right direction. In the Book of Kings and Chronicles, we see a character named the Queen of Sheba. Sheba was a kingdom that was around in biblical times that stretched through parts of Africa and Arabia, modern-day Ethiopia. Now, the Bible tells us that the Queen of Sheba came to visit King Solomon to test his wisdom. She stayed for a time, and then when she left, Solomon gave her whatever she asked. What the Bible doesn't share is that the Queen of Sheba actually had a child with Solomon, a son. This son and heir set up the Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia. That entire region was introduced to the Hebrew God, the texts, and their faith, their religion, was established outside of Catholic control. What is absolutely insane is that the Solomonic dynasty reigned in Ethiopia until 1974. 1974! The Holy Bible that we have, created by the Catholic Church, was absolutely corrupted by the pagan influence of the Catholic Church. It was to control the information that people have access to. I promise you, the Ethiopian Bible is way more accurate and complete. It has so much valuable information.
All the saints, even the Virgin, is painted black. You know? Even today, you don't find such paintings in churches, not always, a bright color, not black color. So, it has to be studied very well, this type of documents. Look, even the evangelist, this is Matthew,
The Ethiopian Bible is the most accurate Bible you will probably ever read in your life. Sorry, not sorry, but let's talk about it. Now, the Ethiopian Bible is actually the world's oldest Bible, and it includes 81 books, including texts like Enoch and Jubilees, making this Bible the most complete Bible written in the ancient language. And this Bible dates back centuries and holding deep cultural significance as a foundation as one of the world's oldest Christian traditions. Now, like I said, this Bible doesn't have the whole Western spin that we're so used to. This Bible has unique stories, and I feel like that's why they don't want us to talk about this Bible or know much about this Bible, and that's why it's so hard to find, because it has different stories, y'all, like different mythical stuff, like a lot of stuff goes on in this Bible. It offers like actually deeper insights into biblical narratives and some of these, biblical figures. So of course they don't want us to know about this Bible. It's too deep, and it lets us know too much about what's really going on in the world. And of course they don't want us to know what's really going on in the world. But if you can get your hands on an actual Ethiopian Bible, you are one lucky person, and please send me a copy if you can, because it gets deep, and it actually is what really went on in the Bible for real, not what we're used to, this old Western wash stuff we got over here. But let me know what y'all think about this Bible, and if y'all read it or if y'all heard about it, because it is honestly so good. Just the stories that I have read and heard about. But let me know what y'all think in the comments.
This one's got me shook. King James Version, Psalm 82:4. Deliver the poor and the needy, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. Ethiopian Bible, Psalm 82:4. Rescue the poor and needy, deliver them from the power of the wicked. King James says deliver the poor and needy. Ethiopian says rescue the poor and needy. King James Version, Psalm 82. Defend the poor and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy. Ethiopian Bible, Psalm 82. Defend the cause of the poor and the fatherless. I almost missed the part that says vindicate the oppressed and suffering. Vindicate, to remove blame, like how Christ was blameless. Why would they remove that from the King James Version? Maybe so he didn't have to vindicate the oppressed, perhaps? Ethiopian Bible says to rescue, while the king wanted to deliver them. I wonder where he wanted to deliver them to. Perhaps prison? Removing life, liberty, and freedom of anyone who disagreed with him or anyone who refused to attend church? I think so. Everything that I find shows that King James kept thousands of people away from the Bible, filling it with riddles and keeping people from being able to read and understand what was in the words.
Baby Jesus hiding in Africa, but he's blonde with blue eyes? Make it make sense. Moses raised in Egypt, but somehow pale like a tourist? Again, make it make sense. The Ethiopian Bible never played those games. Look, 88 books, not 66. Still has the books of Enoch, Jubilees, and Solomon's full writings. They gave you white Jesus to strip your identity. Ethiopia gave us Christ, who looked like the people he died for. It has over 1,200 books in the digital apocrypha, plus you get an audiobook and video lessons to guide you through everything. If you see the orange card, you're one of the lucky ones. Grab yours before they try to bury this truth again.
Why does the Bible leave out so many parts, such as the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon having a child together who ended up being a fucking emperor of a nation, y'all? The Ethiopian Bible, if you do not have a copy of the Ethiopian Bible, you need to grab one while you're still able to get one. The history behind this Bible is powerful. And when I tell y'all, they left so much out of the other Bible to whitewash the Bible, literally. Even Nelson Mandela said he had a special place in his heart for Ethiopia because Ethiopia attracted him more strongly than a trip to France, England, and America. He said a trip to Ethiopia was literally just like amazing because of the way all of the ancient history and the origin of everything started there. Now, the true age of Ethiopia to this day is still considered to be unknown. Mind you, this is the Ethiopian Bible. You can get a copy of this here on the TikTok shop. It is huge, as you can see. It's real, okay? Make sure you don't get scammed and get a fake version of this book because it is very expensive, so I understand you want to get the real deal. But let me tell you that the Ethiopia is the sole African country to possess an alphabet of more than 2,000, like I said, to possess the alphabet more than 2,000 years old, and it's the only country on the continent to have maintained independence in the face of European colonizers. And they have wealth, they have everything there, literally the motherland. Now, the rise in the kingdom of Axum is considered to be one of the most powerful and influential kingdoms that has ever existed, and literally the Horn of Africa. And this has been, they literally, since the civilizations as far away as Rome and India were known to basically have, relations with the kingdom of Axum and business with the kingdom of Axum. And they had some of the most advanced architecture and structures. Literally, it was beautiful. Now, they also adopted Christianity as the state religion in the 4th century AD. And then in the 7th century AD, Ethiopia faced invasions from Islamic forces, which led to the decline of the kingdom of Axum. And the Christian kingdom of Axum was replaced by another dynasty which ruled Ethiopia from the 12th to the 13th century. They rather ban the Ethiopian Bible and make it illegal rather than tell you the truth. And the Western Bible tells you something about the Queen of Sheba visited Solomon and, all this stuff, but it doesn't tell you that the Queen of Sheba had a son with Solomon. And that this son that she had with Solomon ended up being his name. He ended up being his Menelik. And he ended up being the emperor of Menelik. Christianity in Ethiopia dates back to the 4th century when the Ethiopian king converted to Christianity. And this conversion was followed by a period of growth in Christianity throughout the region during this period. And the early church fathers translated the Bible into the language, allowing the Ethiopian people to read and study the Bible in their own language. And basically the translations have been changed, and this is the original translation. So getting this Bible as a Christian, spiritualist, anything that you associate with and resonate with is so important because it contains the original transcripts. Like, it's so freaking cool. When I tell you, I have been scrolling through it, or should I say passing through or reading through it, and it's such a treat, you guys. I really appreciate this book, and I really hope you do as well if you add it to your edition of collection of books in your home. It's amazing, and it's a big book as well as quality. Grab it off the TikTok shop if you guys still see the orange shopping cart, because it goes out of stock fast.
This is the Ethiopian Bible. It is 88 books in total. This is the complete Apocrypha, which means it is the Bible plus additional readings. So this includes books like Jasher, the Book of Enoch, the Book of Noah, the Jubilees, the Luminaries, all those things that were conveniently forgotten or lost that we were not taught. Now, this is in the Book of Noah, which I was reading this morning, and I have to share what I found. So the Book of Noah goes into a lot more spiritual aspect of what was going on
down during his time, things that he went through. He, was crying out to his grandfather Enoch. Enoch came down, talked to him. They're talking about the flood, about why the flood happened, because they have learned all the secrets of the angels and all the violences of the Satans and all their powers. They were practicing sorcery and witchcraft and all that stuff. But this is the coolest part. So it says, and in those days, the word of God came unto me. So here, God is talking to Noah, telling him about the flood. And it says here highlighted, and now the angels are making a wooden building. And when they have completed that task, I will place my hand upon it and preserve it. So this tells me quite clearly that angels helped Noah build the ark, which honestly makes so much sense because when you're reading the book of Genesis, when you're looking at the specifications of this thing, it is incredibly massive. It never made sense to me that he built it alone. And so this tells me that angels helped him build it. God goes in here, down here, tells Noah how he's going to bless his seed so that he can be fruitful and multiply all over the earth. Now, I'm going to leave you with this question, number 4. And he will imprison those angels who have shown unrighteousness. So is he referring to the angels that built the ark, built the wooden building? If so, these had to have been the fallen angels because they showed unrighteousness. So my next question is, did the fallen angels build the ark and then God used it to his good and his glory, which he does all the time? He takes what Satan does and he turns it around. So were the fallen angels trying to escape the flood?
Black people, why would they hide this from us? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Notice that they have Lord in all caps. Now let's look at the Ethiopian Bible. Proverbs 1 verse 7. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge, but the foolish despise wisdom and instruction. Now explain to me this. Why did they change Yahweh to Lord and call all the rulers of the land Lord? And slaves called their masters Lord. But the Ethiopian Bible refused to bow down to the kings. Look, all 88 books, original printed edition, including the missing Apocrypha, the books of Enoch and Jubilee, still there. The book of Adam and Eve, still there. The Nephilim, the giants, all the things that were missing in the westernized Bible, still there.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the video we just played you. I feel like for the most part, the episode like the one we are playing today is one of those educative videos because we are out here looking for some research and there are people who do research and place them on the internet. That being said, I don't know if a lot of you knew Ethiopia was never colonized, and also I don't know if many of you know the fact that Ethiopia holds a different calendar from the one the world uses. Right? So like, for example, majority of all of us celebrate, at least if you're Christian, celebrate Christmas on the 25th of December, right? But on that date, Ethiopians normally are never celebrating Christmas because their own falls either on the 7th of January or the 6th of January, depending on the leap year, right? So they don't celebrate on December, nor do they celebrate on 25th. Theirs is either the 6th or the 7th of January, right? And that is quite interesting because Ethiopia, as I've said, is one of the few countries who does their own things in very different and unique ways, right? Because right now we're in the year 2026, right? Ethiopians are still in the year 2018, right? And so you look at all these differences and you say there has to be a reason why one country in particular lives by its own rules and why the whole entire world is moving together at the same pace, going into a century or a decade that are looking similar across borders except from Ethiopia,
Right. As a matter of fact, the whole world is 7 years ahead of Ethiopia. Right. And I really usually wonder, sometimes I usually just think to myself, which of us is living the current times? But then again, I also remember that there is a lot of things that have been manipulated in the Bible, and not that alone. I also meet, videos on the internet of people saying that April Fool's Day should not actually be celebrated as April Fool's Day. Instead, someone who invented that holiday invented it to make fun of how the whole world was tricked into believing the calendar system we now live in.
Wow. And so a lot of people have their own theories out there, and it's quite interesting to learn about Ethiopian and their Bible. And you ask yourself also, why is it that they have 80, is is it 86 pages of the Bible, whereas the Christian Bible that people know of is either 71 pages or 66, right? And because of those inconsistency, you can't help but think about how there's a lot of manipulations that are going on, because if you ask Google, they could say that probably it's because of how they preserve their historical writings. That is why the pages go up to those, and you ask some people, other people find the reason to be that there are a few books that are missing from the Bible that people are using that you'd find in the Ethiopian Bible, So for this reason, you can't help but understand that for a country that was never colonized, there has to be truly a reason why they do their own things differently, separate from the whole entire world. And why? Because even right now, before something happens, you ask yourself, why is it that even when it comes to, for example, systems of education, you look at how the education system is structured. The Rockefeller family, the exports that they wanted, they invented the education system in order to bring out workers, not thinkers. So you see, that means they would have had an interest in making everybody have the same interest of producing workers, every education level and system, right, for them to achieve their goal. Meaning, whatever structure they've given to America or the Western countries, even the colonies, let's say, for example, in Africa, were to receive the same way in a different form, So it's not above, or it's not far-fetched to say that the Ethiopian Bible has things that some of these other Bible don't. And you ask yourself, what is it that they're trying to hide? Or what truth is it that they're trying to, prevent people from knowing?
Right. And sometimes I usually feel like I would also like to read the Ethiopian Bible for myself, but I usually feel like if the normal Bible was interfered with, what are the chances that I will find the genuine Ethiopian Bible and not what someone has already translated and passing it off as Ethiopian Bible? But I would really like to read it for myself.
Okay, anyway, guys, let us know what you think about this episode, because we'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Also, consider subscribing if it's your first time here, and we'll catch you on our next episode. As usual, Leona, thank you so much for always tuning in.